Hey everyone, John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'll be evaluating some of the top-rated online bachelor's in sports management degree programs out there. Now, if you're looking to get your degree online, you've probably realized by now there are hundreds of choices out there available to you. You've likely seen the commercials on TV or digital ads pop up as you surf the internet. But luckily today, I'm going to help you cut out all the noise and directly compare and contrast some of the most popular national online universities that offer sports management degrees so you can find a program that fits your specific needs and situation. So if you're ready, let's get to it. All right, welcome back. So the 5 online universities that I'll be comparing today include SNHU, Grand Canyon University, Purdue Global, Liberty University, and Full Sail University. These are arguably the 5 most popular national online universities that offer degree programs in sports management. And I'll be comparing them across 5 different categories: affordability, institutional aid, aka grants and scholarships, admissions process, program format, and X factors. In other words, what I see as the standout features of each degree program. And if at any point during this video you feel like you need some more information, make sure to check out the description below. I'll drop links down there over to each university's website where you can get a bunch more detail and learn about each program. You're going to definitely want to check that out as you continue your research. Or you can always find out more by just Googling Test Prep Insight, Best Online Sports Management Degree Programs. That's a great way to get there too. Okay, so first up, let's cover affordability. And the best way to compare this is by looking at the tuition per credit that each university charges and how many credits are required to graduate. So as you can see, it varies from around $320 per credit on the low end with SNHU, all the way up to $500 plus on the high end with Full Sail. Now, keep in mind, most of these online universities offer discounted tuition rates for military members, and some of them even offer discounted rates for in-state students, so if you fall into one of these buckets, there's a good chance you won't have to pay full price. For the rest of us though, it's clear that SNHU is the big winner in this department. At $320 per credit, with 120 credits required for graduation, it's the most bang for your buck. Now, to be fair here, I should mention that Full Sail tuition rates cover all fees and expenses. I'm talking everything: textbooks, manuals, technology fees, production materials, and even what they call their launch box, which is actually one of my X factors for this university that I'll save for later. Full Sail also has a slightly different degree program format than the rest as well. It's much more accelerated. So it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison stacking up Full Sail's rates against the other 4 universities. Still, if you're doing the quick math in your head, $320 per credit times 120 credits, and your eyes start glazing over thinking about the total cost to graduate, you should know that there are alternative education options out there for you. So if you're on the fence about enrolling in a full-fledged degree program, or maybe you're going back simply to add a line to your resume, you may want to think about enrolling in a professional certificate or micro-degree program instead. For example, the University of Alaska offers an online professional certificate program in sports business management that only takes 3 months to complete and costs less than $500. I'll link the certificate program as well as a few others down below in the description, so you're going to want to check those out. Alright, so let's move on to financial aid next, since I know this topic is always a major decision factor for students. And when I say financial aid, I'm talking about institutional grants and scholarships. In other words, what percentage of new beginning full-time students receive aid from the university itself? Because at the end of the day, pretty much anyone can go out and get a federal or even private student loan for themselves. I'm always more interested in how much the actual universities are doling out annually to help students. So with that in mind, the big winners here are Grand Canyon University and Liberty University. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, over 90% of beginning full-time students at Grand Canyon receive some sort of grant or scholarship, the average amount of which is right around $9,000. And at Liberty University, over 70% of beginning full-time students receive some sort of aid, the average amount of which is a little higher than Grand Canyon at right around $11,000. So the big takeaway here is that if you're banking on earning a scholarship or grant to help you pay for college, Grand Canyon and Liberty University are solid options. And by the way, if you do plan on taking out student loans and you want to learn more about earning scholarships, be sure to check out the description below. I'll link a few sources and guides down in that text below the video screen so you can learn a little bit more and get up to speed on the different scholarship and student loan options that are available to you. Okay, next up, let's talk admissions. And this is an easy one since 3 of the 5 schools that I'm talking about today are considered open enrollment universities. That's SNHU, Purdue Global, and Full Sail. As long as you meet the basic application requirements, you'll be admitted. Now, each university does have slightly different requirements and follows a slightly different admissions process, but for the most part here, you won't have to take the SAT or ACT, there's no minimum GPA requirement, and in most cases, you won't even have to pay an application fee. So pretty painless from that perspective, which is nice. You don't have to worry about how your application or transcripts stack up against others, which is great for working professionals who have been out of the education space for a while, or students who might not have the strongest academic background. Now, the 2 exceptions here are Grand Canyon University and Liberty University. These are not open enrollment schools. With that said, they have fairly high acceptance rates. Grand Canyon's is right around 80%, and Liberty's is right around 50%. So still a pretty decent chance you'll get accepted as long as you meet or exceed their admission requirements. Like, for example, at Grand Canyon, you need a high school GPA of at least 3.0. If you don't, then you'll have to take the SAT or ACT or achieve a certain cumulative score on the GED in order to get in. So still not terribly difficult to get accepted, but the requirements for Grand Canyon and Liberty are a little bit more stringent than the other 3 universities. Okay, next up, let's compare program timing and schedule format across these 5 universities. And while we're on this topic, I should mention that unlike traditional brick and mortar colleges, these online universities offer start dates pretty much throughout the year, sometimes as frequently as weekly or monthly. So just know that you won't have to wait until the next semester or quarter to end. You can pretty much get going right away once you finish the admissions process. So now that you're aware of the start dates, let's talk about the format of each program, since I know scheduling and flexibility are key factors for a lot of online students out there. This will give you a good idea of what to expect in terms of pace and weekly workload for each course or program. So as you might imagine, the shorter or more condensed each course or term is, it will require more time and effort from you on a weekly basis to complete assignments, projects, and homework. Whereas the schools that offer longer courses and terms, the workload is spread out a little bit more. So in this case, the 5 universities sort of span the spectrum. On the shorter end, you have Full Sail University's degree track, which is an intensive, accelerated 29-month program. You essentially take 1 or 2 courses every single month, and then you move on to the next. Then in the middle of this spectrum, there's SNHU, Grand Canyon, and Liberty University, who offer 8-week terms. And then finally, there's Purdue Global that offers 10-week-long courses. So the questions you need to ask yourself are 1, what is your preferred pacing? And 2, how much time per week do you have to dedicate towards your degree program? If you want to move quickly and finish a bunch of classes in a short time frame, then Full Sail University is likely your best bet. But if you have a full-time job or maybe you're a busy parent, then Purdue Global might be a better fit with their longer 10-week courses. It just depends on your individual situation. And by the way, if you want to get a feel for what a typical course structure is like at one of these universities, be sure to check out the links down below in the description. All of these universities provide helpful examples and schedules so you can get a better idea of what to expect. Alright, last up here, let's cover my X factors for each of these universities. In other words, what's special or unique about each of their sports management programs. But before I do, I should mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we give away a $500 scholarship to one lucky subscriber just as a way of saying thank you and to help ease the financial burden of higher education. It's super simple to enter. I'll throw the 3 steps here up on the screen, and I'll also have all the details down below in the description. It'll take you less than 10 seconds to enter, and hey, you could win $500 to help pay for your sports management degree. Alright, back to the X factors. And let's start with SNHU first. So my one highlight here is that SNHU offers an accelerated bachelor's to master's pathway. So if you've ever thought about getting your master's in sports management in addition to your bachelor's, SNHU makes it pretty easy. Essentially, you can take graduate level courses during your bachelor's program at undergraduate tuition rates, and then apply those credits towards the master's program to complete your degree in as fast as a year. So overall, pretty cool option for all you overachievers out there. Then next up is Purdue Global, and I actually have 2 X factors here. The first is that, like SNHU, Purdue Global offers an accelerated master's program, so no need to cover that again. The only difference I would mention is that with Purdue Global's accelerated program, you can gain entry into a shortened version of Purdue Global's MBA program. So if your goal is to eventually obtain an MBA after getting your bachelor's in sports management, then Purdue Global's accelerated program might be a better fit. And the second X factor for Purdue Global is what they call their Excel track for select students. This is essentially a self-paced degree format where you're in the driver's seat. You don't have to follow a rigid class schedule. Instead, you control your own pace and course load and set your own deadlines. With that said, this Excel track does have a slightly different pricing structure. You pay per term instead of per credit. And there are some requirements to be eligible. For example, you need 3 years of experience working in a setting relevant to business or sports management. Still, this is a great option for students on both sides of the spectrum, meaning students that want to move quickly or students who want to slow down. Alright, next up is Grand Canyon University. And one of the things I really like about their sports management program is the fact that they offer a ton of open elective credits for students. So if there's a particular niche in the field that you really want to dig deep into, you can. Whether it's guest relations, merchandising, event planning, or even an area that's maybe a bit outside of sports like business analytics or entrepreneurship. It's just really nice that Grand Canyon allows their students to zero in on the topics they're most interested in. Okay, for Liberty University, I have 2 X factors. And the first is that digital textbooks are provided to all online undergraduate students for free. Now, I know that might not sound like a big deal, but it really could end up saving you anywhere from $800 up to $2,000 per year, so I had to mention it. Okay, the second X factor is that Liberty University offers some really cool specializations within their online sports management program. The one that caught my eye is their specialization in venue management. This would be a great option for people who maybe want to help manage stadiums or arenas. So not only game day operations, but also huge events like concerts and trade shows in the offseason. And last up here is Full Sail University. And once again, I have 2 X factors. The first is that included in the price of tuition is a thing called the Launch Box. Every Full Sail student receives one. Basically, it's a personal technology package with hardware and software customized to each degree program. So think computers, adapters, cameras, software, etc. Essentially, everything you need in order to complete the degree program. The second X factor for Full Sail is just how unique their program is overall. So as I mentioned earlier, Full Sail's program is an accelerated 29-month degree track. I won't rehash all that since I went over it earlier, but perhaps more importantly than the format is the degree itself. So unlike the other programs that I've covered today, which are more general sports management or sports business degrees, the Full Sail degree is in sports marketing and media. So a little different and a little bit more unique, especially for those of you out there who are more interested in the marketing or media aspects of sports. You'll take classes like sports digital production, sports sales and sponsorships, and social media methods in sports, just to name a few. So overall, I was just really impressed with how differentiated the Full Sail program is compared to others out there. Okay, that about does it for this video. I know making a decision about something as massive as your education is extremely important. So I hope I was able to provide some clarity around all these online universities. Again, if you want to learn more about any of these programs, be sure to check out the description below for more information. I'll have links down there over to each university's website, as well as other guides and resources related to scholarships and financial aid for you to check out as well. Also, if you're interested in another degree area, maybe outside of sports management, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We have a ton of helpful videos related to higher education. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and we'll see you in the next one.